begin with this paper that I have been trying to sit down and walk through with you for at least 48 hours. I cannot tell you the number of things I had to learn to do. As of 5 seconds ago, I was learning new things. Isn't it great? My name is Ryan Crosby and I teach English. Welcome to my channel. This is the 2025 June English A Paper. This is the multiple choice paper, paper 1. This exam would have been, by the time I post this video, maybe about 72 hours ago or so much. And I've been promising to do this especially for a select group of students. You know who you are. But for anybody else who finds this helpful, hi, and let's go. For the first 25 questions, we're simply going to go at reasonable pace. But for the 35 questions where there are reading comprehension tasks to do, I'm going to walk through the paper and show you my thought process, how I would work through this paper. I'm not here to just give you the answers. I'm aiming to show you skill, technique, all of those things, thought process, all of those things. Rather than me just giving you the answers, I think it's a little bit more to it than that. So here we go. And no, I don't have the answers written down here anyway, so let's see how well I do. Each sentence in this section has one underlined word. Choose from the 4 suggested answers the word that is nearly opposite in meaning to the underlined word. Okay. So here their actions show that they were firm in their rejection of the new law. So the opposite of rejection, I'm going to go with acceptance. What is that? What is that little thing on my screen? I want to tick here. Acceptance. Question 2. The views expressed by Mr. Jones were inconsistent with those of the committee. I'm going with compatible here. Every effort was made to ensure his arrival. Not to ensure, but to jeopardize his arrival. Question 4. She paid meticulous attention to her work as she attached the beads to the costume. I've seen a few of these questions before. I'm going to go with scant. Question 5. As a result of the available evidence, the accused is apprehended and no further action was taken. I'm going to go with released. That's questions 1 to 5. Question 6 to 10. Okay, error recognition. Select the option A, B, C, or D that best describes each of the following sentences and mark your choice on the answer sheet. A. Sentence is too wordy, repetitive, contains redundancies. Sentence contains cliches, misused metaphors. Sentence is incorrect grammatically, faulty in diction. Sentence is acceptable as it stands. Cool. Question 6, he quickly reversed back into the car. For question 6, I'm going with answer option A. That is an A. Pardon me, let me see if I can get the A a little bit. I don't know if I can, guys. That's gonna have to do it for that's an A, guys, right? Trust me. Question 7. The new disciplinary methods had a positive effect on the student's behavior, right? So that's improper diction because this should be effect here. And so this is a C, making the C's real easy, yeah? Watch your girl. I'm moving with gas, right? She had adequate time to prepare for the interview. I don't see any errors here. This is also very familiar. We must ensure that we do not put the cart before the horse in this matter. That's a metaphor. I'm going with B, trying to draw a B. Okay. The manager decided that between the three departments and between, that's a problem. And so I'm going with answer option C for question 10. Great. Questions 11 to 15. Oh, even more error recognition. Some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, punctuation, or spelling. Some sentences are acceptable as they stand. No sentence contains more than one inappropriate element. Select the one underlined part that you feel is inappropriate and choose the corresponding letter. If the sentence is acceptable as it stands, choose D, mark your answer on the answer sheet. She is one of the thousands of babies who are diagnosed with that disease. I don't like how this is phrased. I would prefer they had put she is one of the who is diagnosed, and so for that reason I'm going with D, no error here. Controversial, I know, but I would prefer if they had if they underlined here, I would have taken this as B. One of the thousands of babies who is diagnosed is more grammatically correct. I'm going with D. I stand by my answer. Fight me. Hooyah. When the museum purchased his paintings, the artist had to respond to many compliments. This is where our error is. Those are commonly confused words. Remember, those of you who are in my class, you'd remember we talked about complements versus compliments. The one with the I as opposed to the one with the E. So the receipt of his letter assured me that such an incident would not be tolerated. I'm not tolerating this spelling error here. The secretary had made up a calendar, oh my goodness, calendar, but there was not enough stationery to give each member a copy. It is my privilege to give you some advice concerning proper nutrition. This should be advice. So easy, knock that out of the park. Oh, then they gave you some construction shift. Interesting. Revise each of the following sentences according to the directions that follow it. Do not change the meaning of the original sentence. Look at the options A to D for the word or phrase that best suits the revised sentence and mark your choice on the answer sheet. Okie dokie. In your travels, you will meet people of different cultures. Begin the sentence with, your travels will expose you to submit you. I'm going to go with A, expose you to. More is experienced in one day of the life of a learned man than an ignorant man experiences in his whole lifetime. Begin the sentence with, a learned man. More is experienced in one day. A learned man experiences more in one day. Question 18. She found, even after she had made several attempts to regulate the sprinkler, that the water was still reaching the furniture on the veranda. We've used this question in class so many times. So many times. Having made several attempts to regulate the sprinkler, she found that, okay. Question 19. These students are hardworking as well as respectful. Not only are these students hardworking, but they are also respectful as well. Question 20. The cricket match ended abruptly when many of the spectators stormed the field. Many of the spectators stormed the field. So, I'm looking for the cause and effect word. So, I'm going with so. The cricket match ended abruptly. That's as best I could do there. All right, and now we have items 20 to 21 to 25. Each of the sentences in this section has one underlined word. Choose from the 4 options the word which is nearest in meaning to the underlined words, so synonyms. It was impossible to rectify the error made by the computer since inaccurate information had been fed into it. Rectify is to fix, nearest in meaning, correct. The flowers grew profusely in the garden abundantly. Saw those first 2 questions before already. The bank teller indicated that our account was dormant. I'm going with inactive here. And yes, I am reading the answer options in my head. The news story revealed the squalor of the old prison cells. Saw this question before. Filthiness. Question 25. During the final stages of the trial, a new witness was called to corroborate the testimony of the accused. Corroboration is support. And we move on. Here we go to poetry. Read the following poem carefully and then answer items 26 to 33 based on the basis of what is stated or implied. Asked man. Asked. When I see the poem titles, I always like to try to figure out what's going on here. If somebody is asked, it means the person is cut either literally or figuratively. So either he's been cut out of a job or he's literally been axed. Bad case of sugar. They had to cut him down. The old man sits upright, rigid, spine straight against heaped pillows. He grips the bedclothes on both sides. Big torsoed, bull-necked muscle man wears faded red, short pajama pants, just folding over both new bandaged stumps. No toes, no feet, no shins, no legs, no knees to kneel on any longer, to pray to God for mercy, rest. Yesterday they cut him down again, but still an obscure stink prevails. Matron knows his story. Strong once, a timberman, big as the trees he killed. He lived in forests and towered over men, a rollicking and famous working man. 10 times won at Mashramani time. Who could chop a great tree down the fastest? He logged Purple Heart, Antique, and Silver Valley. Those are trees. Well, at least Purple Heart, Antique. I know that for sure. Trees falling give a sense of exaltation. Look at his stumps now. The axe in the end missed horribly. Mashramani, a festivity commemorated in Guyana, which means the celebration of a job well done. Oh, a job well done. Shout out to my Guyanese students. Hey. Hey guys. All right, so let's go. Question 26. The description of the old man seated upright, rigid, spine straight in lines 3 to 4 implies that he is 3 to 4, upright. Let me see. Image of the old man sits upright, rigid, spine straight. Sounds like a proud man. Doesn't sound afraid, anxious, paralyzed. No, that's not the image that is implied there. Which of the following effects is achieved through the repetition of the word no? Once I see repetition, I'm looking for anything with emphasis. And I do remember that portion of the poem which talked about he had no toes, no feet, no shins, no legs, no knees. So I'm going with comparison of the old man, prior emphasis. I like B. Specification of what is allowed, not allowed. Yeah, I'm going with B. I'm going to stick with B. 28. Which of the following best explains the irony of the situation? Irony. Irony is when something is expected, but the opposite is what happens. Or when somebody expects you to say something and you say the opposite. Those are two forms of irony, verbal and situational. Well, situational, and then the last one where you say what is opposite to what is expected is what you actually say. That's verbal irony. Okay. Which of the following best explains the irony of the situation in the poem? The old man's legs were cut down and they're now shorter. Old man used to kneel to pray to God for mercy, but now he is the one in need of prayer. Okay, no. The old man had an active, rollicking life, but now he can only look on as others enjoy their lives. That is a little ironic, yes, but it's not the best irony. Old man spent his life cutting down trees. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm going with D on that one. Question 29. What literary device is used in a line? He lived in forests and towered over men. All right, so metaphors is a strong contender. I'm not even going to consider alliteration because there's nothing alliterative there. Personification, if we're talking about the old man, then there's no personification. And onomatopoeia is a word which represents a sound when uttered or when spoken. That leaves metaphor without me even having to check. Just by process of eliminating these three, I'm going to stick with metaphor. Question 30. 10 times 1 at Mashramani time. Line 18 implies that the old man was. Mashramani is a festival that celebrates good work, right? A job well done. First celebration of a job well done. So Mashramani means that he was good at his job. Job well done. To what does, quote, he logged Purple Heart, Antique, and Silver Barley refer? Well, I don't know what Silver Barley is, but I know Purple Heart, Antique. Those are Guyanese, types of Guyanese timber. We have teak in Trinidad and Tobago as well. So therefore, he logged Purple Heart, Antique, and Silver Barley, logging a record of trees cut, planning to cut specific trees, cutting specific types of trees. Sounds good. Counting that, yeah, I'm going to go with C here. Which word is used both literally and figuratively in the poem? Stink, towered, logged, and stumps. Stink is only used at the end of that first stanza, an obscure stink, so that's not a literal or figurative. I don't think there are two meanings of stink. It means that there have to be two meanings of the word, right? Towered means to be standing over and above. Logged means to carry. And stump. A stump is like what is left on the body when something is amputated from the body. So a finger, stump, arm, stump, leg, stump. But stump also means the inability to move on. You know, when you are stumped for answers, you are a little bit mute, you are still thinking, you are at a little bit of a pause, you can't go forward. I'm going to go with stumps on this one. The title of the poem is an example of a pun, a metaphor, an oxymoron, or an exaggeration. Axed Man is the title of the poem. Exaggeration, I don't see any exaggeration. I don't see oxymoron there. Remember, oxymoron is the use of two words that are completely opposite in meaning, which is what oxymoron means. If you were in my class, you remember that oxy means what? Sharp. And moron means not stupid, it means dull. So oxymoron means sharp and dull. So axeman, no. Metaphor, he can be compared to a person who has been axed or something axed, but I really like the pun. I think it's a pun. The play is that he is a man who axes, but he has himself been axed, just like we found out in the irony question. That's what I'm going with for question 33. Oh, they gave you shark and bulla and tonic. Come on, guys. Used several times. Read the following extract carefully and then answer items 34 to 39 on the basis of what is stated or implied. Okay. Don't take it to heart, shark. Life's got plenty lessons to teach you yet, partner. This bush does reduce you to an animal, and then you got to fight your way back to prove you are a man. You better get moving, and don't let sundown catch you before you reach Nameless River. I left half of my supplies with bulla and tonic, poured boiling water into the barrel of my rifle, tested the action of the bolt, and set out. I knew bulla and tonic were watching me, but I didn't look back. I walked quickly, feeling my prospecting knife slapping against my thigh. The forest darkened, and my footsteps sounded loud under the tall trees. I wasn't afraid of animals or snakes, and for the first time I felt certain that I would overtake my uncle and Santos. The only fear I knew was for the thing I was about to do, with no witness but God and the forest trees. But this fear was remote as I swung downhill. The sense of being alone filled me with a particular gladness. I looked up at the sun and quickened my pace. I saw Nameless River from a hilltop. The molasses black stream flowed by 100 yards away. For a long time I stood still, watching every movement below and scanning the far bank of the river. I descended stealthily until I came to a mora tree which leaned over the river. I hid my balata pouch between the roots and crouched to wait. Right. The expression, this bush does reduce you to an animal, in lines 1 and 2 implies that shark would eat like an animal, walk on all fours like an animal, be forced to adopt the instincts of an animal. I like this one. Hunt for prey for survival like an animal would. No. Be forced to adopt the instincts of an animal, especially because after that it says fight your way back to prove you're a man. So you have to adopt animal instincts in order to survive in this forest. The advice given to Shark in the first sentence was meant to warn him that he should not be in the bush after dark. He could miss seeing the river in the dark. There were things he did not yet know about life, and he should be careful about dangerous animals in the bush. First sentence, warning. Don't take it to heart, Shark. Life's got plenty lessons to teach you yet, partner. This bush does reduce it to an animal, and then you got to fight your way back to prove you're a man. Life's got plenty lessons to teach you yet. I think we're going to go here. Question 36. The forest darkened, suggests that, well, we know that the sun was going down, right? Sun had set by this time. Trees leaned over the river. Sun created shadows from trees. Trees were blocking out the sunlight. Most obvious. The phrase molasses black describes the color of the water, the thickness of the water, how slowly the water flowed, and how the water smelled like molasses. I'm going to go with how slowly the water flowed, because what I know of molasses is it's not just about its color, because the part of this phrase that provides us with the color imagery is black, but the portion that talks to us about what makes it a metaphor, because it's not black like molasses, it's molasses black. And I think one of the reasons for that is because of how slowly the river is moving. The river is moving slowly, as thick molasses would. The phrases scanning the far bank in line 14, descended stealthily in line 15, hid my balata pouch in lines 15 and 16, and crouched down in line 16 show that Shark is looking for a friend, Expecting an attack from animals, searching for a place to set up camp, expecting someone who is not a friend. Okay, so I'm going to go back 14, 15, 16, and I'm just going to read those lines together. So I'm reading from about like here. For a long time, I stood still watching every movement below and scanning the far bank of the river. I descended stealthily until I came to a mora tree which leaned over the river. I hid my balata pouch between the roots and crouched down to wait. Looking for a friend? No. Expecting an attack? Expecting someone who is not a friend. He's looking for somebody, but the person is not a friend. Question 39. Based on the extract, the only feeling Shark did not experience was satisfaction. Does not feel any satisfaction. Does not feel, oh, this is great, I'm having the time of my life. Animals, oh, non-fiction, right? Read the following extract carefully, then answer items 40 to 47 on the basis of what is stated or implied. Animals at risk. Who cares? An animal species becomes extinct when it fails to produce enough young in each generation to keep pace with the death rate. We can tell from fossil evidence in rocks that many living species have become extinct over the millions of years since life began. It is a natural process, and extinction is the fate of any animal that has specialized too far to change when its environment changes, or that has to compete with a better adapted and more powerful animal. Because of enormous technical developments during the past few centuries, man has destroyed or nearly destroyed some species by killing them at such a rate that they couldn't produce enough offspring, or by completely changing their natural environment at a tremendous speed. There is every likelihood that many species will be made extinct because of these and similar clearances of natural vegetation. The North American buffalo is a case of the near extinction of a species through hunting. Often the numbers are so great, the hunters may not realize the danger. But even when the danger is widely publicized, as with whales, the financial rewards for the hunters may be so great that they may choose to ignore the threat to the species. Attitudes like this have led to hunters and poachers killing animals for furs, for ivory, or merely for ornaments for tourists. A slight variation on this is when sportsmen and tourists hunt animals for trophies. Magnificent creatures such as lions and tigers, however ferocious and terrifying to man and other animals, have been hunted out of existence in some parts of the world. It is important to realize, though, that animals are sometimes killed out of fear. Killer tigers are eliminated in this way, and animals are sometimes killed out of a wish to reduce numbers to help the species to survive. The killing of the Canadian seals and their pups is claimed to be for this purpose, and the use of their skins for luxury furs is only a byproduct. Many people are concerned about animals and wildlife conservation. One way to preserve species under threat of extinction, whatever the cause, is to remove them to zoos and parks and breed them in captivity. There is always the chance that enough offspring will be born to return them one day to their natural environment, provided it still exists, and that hunters and poachers don't begin to exterminate them again. Another method is to protect the animals in their natural environment by creating wildlife reserves and parks and using game wardens to look after them. But the parks are large, the wardens few, and the determination of hunters and poachers very great. There is pleasure and satisfaction in watching wildlife in natural or near natural environments. And tourism can add to the income of countries. The animals are still resources, but in a very different form. According to the extract, an animal species becomes extinct when the rate of birth exceeds the rate of death, the rate of death exceeds the rate of birth. That makes sense. Younger animals fail to mature quickly. Older animals do not produce offspring. When it fails to produce enough young in each generation to keep up with the death rate. That means rate of death exceeds rate of birth. According to the extract, what information has the study of fossils revealed? Fossils have been present in rocks since life began. Many species have become extinct since life began. When life began, the first animal species became extinct. Millions of years after life began, species became extinct. According to the extract, what information has the study of fossils revealed? Going back to the passage, study of fossils. We can tell from fossil evidence in rocks that many living species have become extinct over the millions of years since life began. Okay, many species. Anything else about fossils in this paragraph? Okay, so many species have become extinct over millions of years since life began. Okay, I'm looking for the closest answer to that. Well, I don't even have to because it's right there. Good. Question 42. And this is why I'm doing this as realistically as possible, because this is what you will have to do in an exam. You cannot, I am not going to try to sit down and memorize this passage so I never have to go back to it. That is not the way we do reading comprehension. We must interact with the person. We must read actively while we're reading. We must be paying attention, yes? So we know where to find things. But there's no way we're going to sit down and memorize an entire passage and never have to look at it again after one reading. Okay, so that's not realistic. The writer suggests in lines 3 to 5, quote, "It is a natural process." This is the same process of fossils. "And extinction is the fate of any animal. With a better adapted and more powerful animal." What is the writer suggesting in that line? 3 to 5. Let's go back to 3 to 5. We can tell from fossil evidence in rocks that many living species have become extinct over the millions of years since life began. It is a natural process, and extinction is the fate of any animal that has specialized too far to change when its environment changes, or that has to compete with better adapted and more powerful animals. This should be animals, by the way. There's a typo here. I just saying. I know it has to be a typo. All right, so we go in. Adapting to environmental changes helps species to avoid extinction. True. The writer is suggesting that competing with more powerful and better adapted prevents extinction. Becoming extinct is a natural process. Specializing too much in response to changes causes species to become extinct. Adapting to environmental changes helps to avoid. Yes. Yeah, I like that. Go back to this. Natural process. Okay. So animals becoming extinct is a natural process. Extinction is the fate of any animal that has specialized too far or that has to compete. So, writer suggests in lines 3 to 5 that adapting, competing, specializing too much. I'm liking competing. I'm going to take out the two that I think are most obviously wrong first. 42. Competing with more powerful and better adapted species prevents extinction. Going back to the passage again. If I have to go back to it one more time, I'll go to the other question, okay? This is for us to read slowly and take our time. I'm slowing it all the way down. Natural process, and extinction is the fate of any animal that has specialized too far to change. So specializing too far to change will cause you to be extinct when a natural environment changes. Competing. Adapting to environmental changes helps species to avoid extinction, but specializing too much, that too much change is part of that, because of enormous, Too specialized, too far to change. That part there, specialized, too far to change. When his environment changes, I like that part. I think that's the important part there. Because this is really asking you which one is true. Okay, let's go to 43. Which of the following is not given as a reason for species becoming hunters, killing animal species for food, man changing the environment too quickly, sportsmen poaching animals, yeah, becoming extinct? It's that one. 44. In the context of the extract, which word is closest in meaning to exterminate, eliminate, or line 26? Let me go back to line 26. Another, okay, 26, the first part. I'm going to read a little bit above and a little bit below, because this is what you do when you have those word in context, word in a line questions. You're reading a little bit before, right? So, provided it still exists and that hunters and poachers don't begin to exterminate them again. And this is with respect to offspring, right? So, don't begin to eliminate. Yeah, eliminate can work here. There is always a chance that enough offspring will be born to return them to their natural environment, provided it still exists, and that the offspring are not exterminated again. Yeah. Question 45. Which of the following best conveys the writer's purpose? Oh, definitely. To inform, to reflect, persuade, to complain, to inform. Which of the following statements best expresses the main idea of the passage? I thought about this passage being a good candidate for summary writing. There are certain parts of this that can be useful for teaching. Those of you who remember in class, we talked about the 8 morphemes that you want to eliminate from your original passage before you produce your summary. I found that this text was a very good candidate for that. Which of the following main idea? Extinction is a natural phenomenon, but man contributes significantly to the problem. Many factors cause species to become extinct, but there are solutions to the problem. Man's technical discoveries have caused other species to become extinct, and this must stop. Problem of extinction, which species of all animals are facing, is caused by man, so man has to solve the problem. Yeah, I'm going to go with A. When the writer says the killing of Canadian seals and their pups is claimed to be for this purpose and the use of their skins is only a byproduct. Seals and pups were killed in Canada. Animals were killed to reduce their numbers. I think this is it. I think there is a little bit of sarcasm. There's a little sarcastic undertone in this portion of the text, and I'm going to go back to it and show you what I mean. Okay, 20. All right. So, sometimes animals are killed out of fear. Killer tigers are eliminated this way. And we're going from here. And animals are sometimes killed out of a wish to reduce numbers to help the species survive. Now, that might be a true thing. But listen to the way that they write. Listen to the writer's tone in the very next sentence. The killing of the Canadian seals and their pups is claimed to be for this purpose. Claimed to be sounds as though the claims are not genuine claims. And the use of their skins for luxury furs is only a byproduct. Almost as though to say that the writer does not believe that this claim is genuine. Does not believe that the luxury furs are a byproduct. But in fact, that the luxury furs are probably the purpose for killing off the Canadian seals and their pups. So I'm going to go with C on this one. Read the following extract carefully and then answer items 48 to 55 on the basis of what is stated or implied. Oh, this is one of my favorite passages of all time. Of all time. I love it. I love it. I love this one because it's so fun. Letter to the editor. Here we go. This is an open request to try to find out who is the brain behind traffic management in Paulo. Does anybody know? I have tried traffic branch, not them. Highways, not them. Planning and development, not them. In fact, nobody wants to take responsibility for certain decisions and the mess that results. For example, Mission Road was made one way north to south. Great idea. It worked. No traffic jams. In fact, many people would charge for going the wrong way up a one-way street. Then suddenly, it's back to two-way and traffic for so. Same is true of Stoke Street. Somebody changed the stop signs at the corner for a few weeks, then they change it back. Nobody knows why. But the best is Celestial Road in St. John, which is Wrecker Heaven. Somebody made this road, which apart from Broadway is the widest street in Paulo, a no parking street, either side, anytime, and the wrecker is profiting from this. There are 4 major office buildings on this road, all of which provide underground parking for staff. So some, usually the lower paid, have to park elsewhere, and these are the persons whose cars the wrecker is taking away all day, every day. Again, the small man suffers. Oh, there's one exception. If you have a Canadian High Commission sticker, you can park and the wrecker will not touch your diplomatic car. Maybe we can all become diplomats. Then again, the 2 narrowest streets in Paulo allow parking. Try the Lino Street off Abbey Lane. You can hardly pass. Who is the brain behind this mess? It seems the more cars we put on the road, the less parking somebody wants to allow. Who is this brain? No doubt, a small man with a big car who has no name. Listen, I did this in class, I enjoyed it then, and I'm enjoying it now like I've never read it before. Let's do the questions. Question 48. The writer's use of the word brain in line 1 is meant to make fun of the decisions, create a comparison of the streets, compliment those responsible, exaggerate the traffic problems, definitely make fun. There's a lot of sarcasm here. When the writer repeats the words not them, not them, not them in line 1, he implies that he's choosing someone to complain to. B, no one knows who's in charge of the traffic management. No one wants to accept responsibility for the traffic situation, or he is searching diligently for the person in charge of traffic. Great. Question 50. Stoke Street, line 7, Celestial Road, line 9, and Delino Street, line 17 can best be considered prohibited streets for all drivers. Streets that attract a lot of attention. Examples to support the writer's case. I like that one. And D, assign parking places for diplomats. I like answer option C here, Stoke Street. Let me go back to it. 7, 9, and 17. 7. Same is true for this. 7, 9, and 17. 15, 16, 17. Try. Yeah, okay, so these are all examples, as I thought before. Grade 51. The writer's tone can best be described as puzzled, resigned, sarcastic, or complimentary. The last sentence of the letter is similar to paragraph 5 because both of them mention cars, express disgust, are complimentary, or contain rhetorical questions. The last sentence of the letter is similar to paragraph 5. Paragraph 5. So we're going back to the last sentence. No doubt a small man with a big car who has no name. We're going to, let's go to paragraph 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. Oh, there's an exception. If you have a Canadian High Commission sticker, you can park and the wrecker will not touch your diplomatic car. Maybe we can all become diplomats. There are no questions there, so rhetorical question is not it. That means last sentence and paragraph 5. Great. 53. The author of this passage is most likely motorist, pedestrian, traffic warden, government official, just a regular old person like yours truly. Again, the small man suffers in line 14 implies that the small man is often ignored, disadvantaged, considered the most, or the one who is wrong. The letter was most likely published in a newspaper, press release, tourist brochure, school magazine, tourist brochure, yeah, right. Newspaper, and we are almost there. 4 more to go. Okay, so they've gone graphic comprehension, see you are special with. Read the following advertisement carefully and then answer items 56 to 60 on the basis of what is stated or implied. Say you're special with love blooms. Our floral arrangements send a message when there are no words. The selection of flowers is varied and the arrangements are spectacular. New revolutionary treatment ensures longer lasting freshness. Love Blooms offers you the services of well-trained creative florists and arrangers who fashion your request for specialty designs to meet your every whim and fancy. 9 out of 10 customers value our efficient and reliable service. Whatever the reason, happy holidays, happy anniversary, welcome home, congratulations. Say it with Love Blooms. Island Gift Special. 1 dozen homegrown ginger lilies plus 175 gram box of gourmet guava cheese. Ain't nobody want no guava cheese. Gift box $25. Other selections are also available from $12 and up. $12 up to $50, including a personal message. Delivered anywhere on the island. Order by phone, fax, post, or e-fax. Cash, credit cards, debit checks. What? Cash, credit cards, debit cards, checks. Love Blooms. Bloomsdale, Rose Petal Gardens, Grenville. Ooh-wee. Romance. Love is in the air. All right. When the writer uses the statement, quote, our floral arrangements send a message when there are no words, he is suggesting that there are no words to describe love blooms, that those who receive the flowers are left speechless, that these flowers are sent by people who cannot speak. Where do we get these responses? Flowers convey the message more clearly than the spoken word. Guys, stop playing. You all play too much. According to the advertisement, the treatment applied to the flowers makes the stems grow longer, makes the flowers stay fresh for a longer period, is a result of the training that the florists receive, causes the flower arrangers to work with them better. I think the answer is B. Treatment applied to the flowers. New revolutionary treatment ensures longer lasting freshness. So we're going with, as I suspected, answer B. The use of the words, quote, to meet your every whim and fancy in lines 7 to 8 is intended to make customers feel that some desires are trivial, their desires will be met. Florists are very creative. The arrangements are always fashionable. 2 more to go. In using the statement, 9 out of 10 customers value our efficient and reliable service. Line 9, the writer's purpose is most likely to A. Show that people like the company. Show how many people use the service. Demonstrate that the company has done some research. Encourage patronage by appealing to the need to be part of a group. Oh, this is a nice question. Let me go back to line 9. Love Blooms offers you the service of well-trained creative florists and arrangers who fashion your requests, specialty designs for every whim and fancy. 9 out of 10 customers value our efficient and reliable service. So, therefore, I'm not going with A. I'm not going with C. Nine out of 10, so it's only 10 people enjoy it, and only 10 people use the service. The answer is D. The primary purpose of this advertisement is to introduce a special gift, give information about the delivery service, persuade readers to use the service offered by Love Blooms, give some examples of occasions when flowers may be used. Oh. Well, I think we did it. I would write on this screen, but the best I can come up with, I'll try for a heart. Yikes. Did it here? This is how the people make any hearts these days. I'm a millennial, so I'll make my heart in the millennial way. Guys, this has been great. I hope this was helpful. My name is Rianne Crosby, and I teach English. Catch you in the next video, and bye for now.